what are we getting ourselves into? But I said, this is a good way for me to be home with the kids, the two-legged kids. And all of us work together as a family, starting something that is not very popular. Back in '86, it wasn't. People say, you're doing goats? Grandpa even said, you're doing goats? Because they were all beef or milk goats or milk cows back in the day. So we said, okay, let's try this. So we talked to Tioga State Bank. Tioga State Bank helped us get started. They thought we were crazy, but so did everybody else. But we said, no, we can make this work. So we did. We turned into a dairy. And our building, the Morton building, was only like 12 feet wide and probably 40 feet long. So it was very small, and we milked the goats all by hand. And the cheese plant up in Interlaken loved the milk. So I had a little Ford Escort. We had 10-gallon cans that were Grandpa's, and we put the milk in there, and I would drive it up to the goat farm and unload it, and then they would make cheese out of it. Well, then they found out, the goat farm, the plant, they found out that our milk was really of good quality, and they were making higher amounts of cheese per gallons of milk. So they asked us to go a little bigger. Oh, boy. Yeah. So John LaGeorge said to me, Rita, you're crazy. And I said, yeah, I know. But anyway, so I stopped working at LaGeorge's after 7.5 years, and I became full-time, milking both ends of the day and then delivering every other day up to Interlaken. And then we wound up about 2 years later, we had 300 head. Yeah, we made a bigger milk house, a bigger parlor, got a 500-gallon bulk tank. And so a lot had happened, transpired. I learned a lot, And Dr. Mary Smith, I was very happy with her. Went to Ithaca Library, wound up getting 3 parking tickets because one, we didn't have internet, at least we didn't. And so once you get involved in these books and everything about what you can do and how you can do it, you just forget what time it is. So I got 3 parking tickets. Yeah, I paid him. I decided I wasn't going to go fight him because if I told a judge we were going to be a goat farm, no, it wouldn't work. So we did the 300 head, and it was about 7 months into that, the goat farm, the cheese plant was having a hard time paying us. They would pay us a little here and a little there, and we were producing 8,000 pounds a week. Oh, by the way, I got rid of the Ford Escort. We got a full-size truck, but we were still delivering in cans. And I would go up 5 days a week. And so we had no choice but to say, okay, well, we'll work with you if you work with me. And before too long, they got to owe us over $25,000. And we said, we can't do this anymore. At that time, the goats were eating better than we were. Even though Russ was working at the school, he's groundskeeper bus driver, that money was going to pay for everything else. So we went up there the last time, and we went to deliver the milk, and there was padlocks on everything, and there was bank, foreclosure, whatever it was. And it was a very emotional time for me. Russ can handle things, so I get too involved in what I was doing, and I take it to heart. So I said, we got to be able to do something. So we sold over 200 head, which was very dramatic for me. Because when you look into a goat's eyes and they go, meh, they love you, and no matter what kind of mood you're in, they love you no matter what. So it was hard. But I said, I know a couple people over at Cornell at the dairy pilot plant over there. I said, let me go over there and see what's what. So I did, and I talked to David Brown, and I said, is there any help for us, or do we have to just give this whole thing in? And he said, Rita, what do you want to do? I said, I want to make cheese. He says, you want to make cheese? You know how hard it's going to sell goat cheese? I said, we can do it. I know we can do it. He said, but goat cheese is not popular. And it wasn't. I mean, this was like 90, 91. People would say, you have goat cheese? You make goat cheese? Like I had the plague, you know, it was really bad. But anyway, so David Brown says, okay, let me see if I can get a professor and a couple students to work with you, and we can justify you using the facility without any charge. So that's what we did, and I take it over to Cans and make cheese over there. Finally, I wound up with a product that everybody seemed to like in the building. So I took some to Green Star, and I took some to Tops Markets and a few other places, Ithaca Bakery, and everybody's going, wow, I want this cheese. So I said, okay, then let's do it. So we started making the cheese over there, and actually Cornell Pilot Plant was letting me use the whole facility, including their Cryovac machine, vacuum pack machine. And we did that for 6 months while our cheese plant was being built over here. And so it worked out really well. So then it came to moving everything, the whole business over here. And we decided that, this is what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. So the kids are saying, now Mom, we gotta make cheese. First of all, milking by hand was a real trip. Oh, and when we did get to the 300 head, we did have a machine. We still do. So Cornell was a big part of our life back then. So then from 91 to 96, we were steadily making the cheese, delivering it all around. We had all the giant markets in Binghamton and all that area. And then all of a sudden, the Tioga County Fair in 96, there was a rabid goat. We were pretty well known at that point, so people automatically thought it was our goat that was the problem, and sales just went right to the bottom. Luckily enough, we got a hold of the Binghamton Press, and they did a nice article about us, stating that it was not our goat. We were a closed herd because we have a raw milk license, and it was really nice, but it still hurt the business to that point. But then I went back to the Ithaca library, and I said, there's gotta be something else I can do with this milk in the meantime, before the sales keep coming back up. Well, I found recipes for soaps, hand creams, everything, shampoo with using goat milk as a main ingredient. So I started doing that. I said, whoa, thank you, Tioga County. You just gave me another outlet for my products. And and so that's what I do now. I still keep it, not as much as I did back then, but I still try to keep enough soaps and hand creams and shampoos and all kinds of stuff. Face creams, yeah. So, okay, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, so after that kind of blew over, I started doing a lot of demos, trying to get people to come back to knowing more about the goat milk than just what happened, even though it wasn't ours. Well, I went to the Tops Market over in Cortland when they opened up, and I did demos there. They say, what is this? And I go, well, this is Side Hill Acres goat cheese, and this is this, and this is this, and tell them what kind it is. They'd walk away. Well, I'm getting a complex. I don't like food like that. So I went outside, had a cup of coffee, and I said, doggone it, there's gotta be something I can do. So I go back in and I say, what's this? Oh, this is the gourmet blend black pepper. This is the Italian urban garlic. Would you like to try some? After they had it, I told them it was goat cheese. Hey, it worked. So then I felt it pretty good. And in the years coming, we started entering our cheeses in the state fair, and we were winning. We were doing pretty good, which helped the business tremendously. Once you can say that you are an award-winning cheese, goat cheese, cow cheese, whatever, it kind of gives the public a little bit more confidence to try it or to buy it. But we do a random weight cheese. We felt that if you wanted to try the goat cheese for the first time, you are not going to spend a lot of money because you don't know how it's going to taste, and you don't want to throw it away and the money too. So we are the only ones in the state of New York that does a random weight cheese. And to this day, we still do that. And so here we are. I mean, it's been a rocky road, but this is what we do. So now we're only milking 100, but we've gotten a lot of different markets. Like, we dropped out of Tops because they were charging way too much money for the product. And as long as it's my business, I will tell them, you can't do that. And the guy says to me, he said, Jim Lucero, he says, Rita, we need your product. And I said, look, at this time, I was charging $4.10 for a gallon of milk, and they were racking it up to $6.99.
Wow.
No, you're not. Not with my stuff. I did the same thing with Weiss markets. I sell my crumbled feta 8-ounce container cheese for $4.39. That's it. To them, to my people that come to my shop, they were racking it up to $7.99. No. And I think if more companies did this and said, no, this is my product, you will charge what I say, not what you want to, I think we'd be in a better spot. So now I found a market down in the city. She's making ice cream. We used to make ice cream, but it got to be too expensive when the pilot plant built their multi-million-dollar plant. So the charges were just too much. I'd have to charge $9 for a pint of ice cream. Nobody's gonna pay it, no. So I send my milk down to the city now. It's pasteurized, and she buys anywhere from 40 to 160 to 210 gallons a week. So she's doing very well. She's making a gelato, and she's also making a yogurt, frozen yogurt. So she's doing pretty good with it. And I basically stay local, and that's the way it is. Yeah. Any questions?
So is that the only place you can get the ice cream? Down
the
there?
city now?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I make smoothies now. Frozen smoothies?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I only make 2 flavors. I make chocolate and I make vanilla. But they really are good. Yeah, and they're more healthy, you know.
Rita, what about major visitors to your site?
Oh my gosh, my visitors. Our farm, I remember the first tour that we had, they came from Russia. You remember that? It was hooked up through Cornell, again, because we were pretty tight with Cornell. Nobody could speak a word of English. But they had an interpreter. And so they came into the cheese plant, and I explained everything, and they tasted all the cheese, and then they went out in the barn, and went out in the pasture. We had so much fun. By the time they left, or were coming out of the barn, we were knowing what we were saying, you know, it was too funny. The one guy, we have La Manchas. La Manchas basically have no earlobes. Yeah, it's really weird, but that's the way they are. Man from La Mancha, you know. Anyway, so the one guy's going like this, you know, and no, we don't cut their ears. It's the way they're born, and it was really funny. But that they're getting on the bus and everything, and then the one guy comes out, and he's bringing me a handful of gifts from Russia, including those little wooden dolls, you know, you open the one and it's on, and it goes all the way down to the baby. I started bawling like a baby, because I had nothing to give him. You know, we just had a farm. And so the interpreter told him that, and he turned around and told her, you have given us memories that'll last our lifetime. You know, so it was really nice. But soon after that, I decided that maybe we should have a little gift shop, or, you know, something. And so we did. It was our first Fall Fest, remember? And we were building this, and the first Fall Fest, yeah, it was fun. And then we've had people from Hawaii. We just had people from Hawaii. That was, remember, I was asking Bob about it. It was quite an experience. And then India, and they brought me these scarves that they make. It was just beautiful. I always wind up getting gifts, you know, and it's really something to remember. Yeah. So now we're going to get, people from Wisconsin are coming to our farm. It will be in September, I think it is. It's not, the date isn't confirmed yet, but they're coming all the way here to the goat farm. And then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we do a lot of visitors. We don't charge for our tours. I feel this is my own personal thing. I feel that you can't put a price on education, and that's what I consider our farm to be, is an educational facility. So it's all free. Everybody can taste the cheese for free, taste the milk for free, and walk through the barn, milk a goat, and really have a good time. But yeah, so that's it, and this is where we are now. Now I have the latest Kellogg is our great-grandson, who is my granddaughter's baby. He's 19 months old. And if you look on my Facebook page, you'll see him actually holding the milker like this with Russ, milking the goat. Yeah, we tease him and say he was born in the barn. What the heck? Yeah, I mean, he just goes out there and he got the goats at, go, moves them out of the way, the goats put up with him. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Yes?
I have a couple of questions. One, I happen to have the cinnamon cranberry for my salad tonight. Do you make the mixed cheese there too, like
Yes.
where you have raspberry or?
Yep, everything's made right there.
Okay.
We just started a black raspberry cheese dip, and it's great with graham. Orange likes it.
Mine's gone.
It's it's great with graham crackers. It's like you're eating a cheesecake. So it's really good. In fact, for the Taste of Tioga, we always do our cheesecakes for them. Yeah, and then they use our feta. Yes,
Do you make any yogurts?
yes, I did make yogurt. We don't add any thickening agents, so it's more of a drink than anything thick. Because the yogurts that you find in the store today, there is so much ingredients in it, you can't even pronounce half of it. And they use like either rice flour, or they use pectin, or whatever else, gelatin. And ours is just goat milk and the yogurt culture itself. So it does have a tendency to be a little liquefied.
And different. I thought it was rotten, I took it back.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny about our yogurt? We make a kefir too. It's full of Anadophilus bacteria and stuff. It's really a health drink. Well, customers were coming in and they say, Rita, can you make me a kefir? What in the world is a kefir? I had to do some research on that. And so I got the culture and I made the kefir and I tasted it and I went, I am not. So the customers that came in and asked, and I say, Reed, did you make that kefir? I said, I most certainly did, but you taste it and see whether it's right. I don't like it. And so they did, and they go, oh my God, this is wonderful. So yes, I make a kefir and I don't like it. And yogurt's the same way. It's got a tart flavor, and I don't like that flavor. So all my customers tell me if I do it right or if I do it wrong. Yeah.
You don't pasture into the goats, you buy your roughage.
Yes, actually, the goats have 22 acres that they can go in, but they prefer to be in the barn in front of the fans, or in the wintertime, they prefer to be nestled up in the hay and keep it nice and warm. They go out to play, but as far as actually grazing, they don't do it. They like to browse, but nothing serious.
And you don't have any problem finding roughage to buy locally?
No. Right now, we're getting our hay from outside of Binghamton, Conklin, Kirkwood, somewhere in there. We just started with this guy, because he does dry hay.
Yeah.
We were losing too much money buying hay from the fields after they've gotten so wet. But yeah, most of ours are bought. Yeah. We have a 6-acre field that we actually do for the babies that we raise. Because it's got a little alfalfa in it.
Yeah.
And Timothy trefoil. Yeah, so it's good. Yes.
Do you still sell the kids?
Yes, we do sell it. Well, mostly the bucks we sell, the boys. And we only sell them for $8 because it's hard to even get rid of them, So a lot of people will buy them for meat, they'll raise them for meat. We used to do meat years ago, but it got to be another serious job that we really didn't need to do. And the prices of the kids fluctuated depending on when Easter was or that kind of thing. And if you didn't raise them to a certain weight by a certain time before Easter or even Greek Easter, then you wouldn't get the money that you should. So, We just stopped doing that. Concentrate on the milking herd and the kids that we're raising.
Just a curiosity question. In the nineties, the mid-nineties, I was involved with the county and we started looking at all the abandoned land and wondered, well, could we do something with goats where you could convert that land? And we
Right.
happened to have a young man here from New Zealand and he was very interested in this. He's getting a doctor at Cornell. We got a little money and we got him to do the study. So the study was, can you on this abandoned land make this a profitable enterprise? And we had to get somebody over in Erin because we didn't have anyone fenced in doing it here. So we happened to find someone that had a lot of acreage and we did the study and and the conclusion we come to was that the scale, and this was for me, and the conclusion we come to at that time is with the overhead and the taxes and issues with coyotes and other things, that it was not a winning proposition for me. Now, I'm assuming that in your cost model or what you go through here, using this and converting it to cheese or
Right.
whatever is a different story.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
you don't have that overhead of land. The people in Texas and New Zealand and Australia where they have thousands of acres, they
right.
can run a scale that can stand the fluctuation in the markets,
Yeah, and it even with me, it's still a rough thing. You know, like our sales depend on whether the college kids are here,
Yeah,
whether they're not here, whether it's, vacation time. All this is a factor, but you've gotta have, I guess you gotta have enough faith. This business takes a lot of faith. You have to have enough faith that you're gonna make it through. And you save a little bit here for later on. And that's how that works. Because goats are seasonal. They can only be bred basically from September to February. So you got a short window as far as milk production income. Like we start dropping in production October, November. And we don't start picking up again until maybe mid-March. So you gotta make sure, like we do a lot of the wineries. The wineries are great for us because we're seasonal, so is the wineries. So we make out pretty good that way. We do the windmill, that's also a seasonal thing.
okay.
So that's what we do, and the farmers markets. We're in 7 farmers markets. I have the girls do my products for me and they get a commission. So we spread ourselves, we're all the way up in Canandaigua. So, we spread ourselves around. But it's just perfect for this business because of the fact that we only milk plentiful during the summer months, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I was curious, what did you contribute that your milk was a better quality?
Oh,
You know,
well, I forgot that. How dare me? It's the breeds that we carry. We don't stick with just one breed. We do Alpine, Sonnens, La Manchas. Nubians are high in butterfat. That's the ones with the droopy ears. And so the milk is like a commingled milk, so it's a better blend, the butterfat, the protein, the vitamins. And so that's what makes it, a healthier. Like right now, it's summertime, they drink a lot more milk or water in the summertime than they do in the wintertime. So the milk is what I call thinner. So it takes a little bit over a gallon of milk to make 1 pound of cheese. Come wintertime, it's a little thicker, more like a condensed milk, because they're not drinking as much water. So in the wintertime, we can make a pound of cheese out of 3/4 or close to a gallon of milk. So there's a higher ratio, less milk, but a higher ratio of cheese. So it works out good that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Who's your biggest 2 competitors?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I have, so many people ask me that. I don't know and I don't wanna know.
Yeah.
Because what we do is what we do.
Okay.
And if I worry about what the other
No,
guys.
I understand.
No, seriously. If I worry about what everybody else is doing, where does that leave me
Yeah.
for my business? It's just the way it is.
Are some of your children or grandchildren joining you so that you can carry on?
Oh, yeah, I hope so. I sure do hope so. And that's another thing, when you start a business like this, the last thing you wanna think is that it's gonna end. And it is gonna end for us one day. But thankful, our granddaughter and her son are a big part of the farm. Our son, Robert, he's still a good part of the farm. He's now working up at Amon's, so in between, he's down there helping us. But, yeah, I hope that they carry it on, because I would hate to see it just end. Yeah. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, you know? A lot of celebration, too. Yeah. Yep, yes. Marge?
Oh, you have a label, the ingredient calorie label on things or know it?
We're actually exempt from putting a nutritional label on it.
I know.
Yeah,
Do you
but,
know
and
it
I
yourself?
have some at the shop, so the next time you come up, oh, Jim was just there
As
today.
much of it as I eat, I need to know.
Yes, just have you or Jim ask me and I'll give you. Yeah, the state says that we don't need a nutritional label, which is nice, because that's a big added expense. That you have to send the cheese, each flavor has to be sent to a pharmaceutical company or whatever you call them, lab. And all the milk has to be sent, the kefir has to be sent, the yogurt has to be sent. And the expense of that is just like, really, do you really need to charge that much money? I think it's, the last I checked, because we were thinking about doing it so we could get into this other market in the city, they wanted to charge us $675 per item.
I know. Oh, goodness.
Per item. And I'm sorry, but we're a little too small for that kind of thing, so we chose not to do that. And so I have a nutritional chart that we actually got from American Dairy Goat Association. They had taken an abundance amount of bottled milk from a lot of producers, and they put that into the lab. So we got like a basic chart that says this is what it could be. It might be a little less or it might be a little more. So that's what we do.
Do you ever have your milks get out?
Have we ever? When we first started, it was about a month, we kept them in the barn, you know, in a nice little box stall, got them used to the routine of how we do things, no problem. Okay, a month they're in there, it should be okay. We opened them up, first thing they did, head for the fence and the main road. It was just unbelievable. Cars are coming all over the place, beeping their horn, yelling and screaming and everything. Well, you know what that did? That just made the goats run even more on the road. They were so scared. It was something else. So here we are, the three kids, Russ and I, running up the road, trying to get these goats and asking people, just stop it, stop it. And finally we did. It was funny. Mr. Reed, he helped us. Yeah.
My nephew's boy's got goats now, and I think he's got about 12 or 14 goats, and they know how to get out.
Yeah.
They just go under the fence, and my brother Garrett was telling me that one goat is so smart that it goes with his shoulder on the fence, it lifts it up, and all the little ones and then they leave the dogs out, and the dogs go chasing them. That goat goes back and lifts the fence up again so they can all go back under the fence. Yeah.
We had a buck, that reminds me, we had a buck, his name was Herbie, he was named after my father. And doggone buck would get out. It was a fence and plywood and 2x4s. That little stinker would climb up there, walk on that 2x4 and get out. And we called Cornell and we said, something's wrong with these does, they're not coming into heat. Well, they did ultrasounds on them, and doggone, they were bred. So that little stink pot was climbing out of that fence and then getting back in. So we did not know that he was breeding these goats. Oh my gosh, of course my father's walking around. It was funny.
So anyway, they have a weeping willow tree there, so far up that they can stand on their hind feet. They browsed it all off. And they're very wonderful browsers.
Oh, yes, they are. Yep. I know the one year I had marigolds all up and down the driveway, and the goats got out because somebody forgot to lock the gate. And we got out there in the morning, and they're all laying in the driveway. Not one marigold was left, not one. But let me tell you, they had so much production that morning. He couldn't believe it. Something with the marigolds made it. You're all laying there chewing your cud, you know. So, I think that was the last year I ever put flowers there. Any other questions? Well, thank you very
So-
much for having me. And please